Welcome back to Swamp Talk. This is Will with Joel Smith from the Bull Gator and Alligator Army, which is a part of the SB Nation blogging network. We've talked about the offense in this episode, or this segment, or this podcast. We talked about the running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and offensive line. Now we're getting ready to hit the quarterbacks. If you've listened to the show up to this point, we might sound negative about the program. It's not that we're negative. We just don't want to create false hope. We want to accept the reality that there are a lot of question marks about this team. But this is Florida. This is the Gators. So to assume that all those question marks would come back a negative, I don't want to say that's what I believe. I think Joel and I are just being realistic. You look at a program like Texas that had a down season. Sometimes those question marks can all come back unanswered, and you find yourself in that position. But we're not necessarily predicting that for the Florida Gators this season. So, Joel, what do we have coming in at the quarterback position? Everybody's looking at Brantley. I don't know. Again, I said this earlier. I don't know if that's really the case. Muschamp has said he wants Brantley to just kind of manage the team. I think that might work if the offensive line can block for him, if we can find a running back who can help pick up the blitz. It might not be we need Brantley as much. How do you see the quarterback position right now for the Florida Gators?
Well, and obviously this was the big struggle for everyone. The team, the coaches, the media, the fans last year was the play of the quarterback position. And there are a lot of reasons why. Everyone expected John Brantley to step into this offense and just light the world on fire. And when it didn't happen, he was thrown to the wolves. And it's almost acceptable if you just look at the numbers. I mean, we're talking about a season when he threw 10 interceptions to 9 touchdowns. We're in an era where some of the better quarterbacks will go an entire season and only throw 3 or 4 interceptions. So to see a number like 10, that's, 15 years ago, that would have been a great season. Well, now it's kind of like, okay, what happened? And this kid only threw 9 touchdowns. I think Muschamp's right. I think most of the people saying, should Brantley be a game manager, is right. Maybe this kid can have a great season under a new offense, but overall, I don't believe the Gators need him to be great. I think they need him to play, keep his head in the game, keep his confidence high, and just manage the game. There have been plenty of good teams at the pro level, at the college level, at every level historically that don't have a great quarterback but have one that doesn't make mistakes at key moments and just manages the game. And I think that's what the coaching staff may have to do with Brantley, mostly because he just hasn't proven he has the self-confidence to get it done yet. And they need to get him through a couple games where the Gators are winning and he's not making big mistakes. He's playing decent enough. It doesn't even need to be great before they can really start to unleash him and see what he can do. He needs to get his confidence back and prove he can do it. And mostly the fans need to get behind him. I mean, we'll poke fun. We'll be hard on the guy. We actually have a piece coming up on the Bull Gator this week that we're kind of joking around about the whole starting QB situation. But it's all in good fun. But I think he has to realize, and all of us have to realize, that ultimately as Gator fans, we're behind him. We want the kid to have a good season. We don't want him to fail. It's just we need to see it. And I think he needs to see it just as much as we need to see it, because he needs to have that confidence in himself. It's one thing for us not to have the confidence. It's another thing for him not to have it.
Yeah. Last season, I felt like his confidence was wrecked. At this point, I'm kind of at a position where if he can turn out to be a McElroy type from Alabama, that's good. Or the other direction he can go, which we don't want, is a Ja'Cory Harris situation. I think he's that guy right now. He can go either way. He's not going to be great. He's not going to set a whole bunch of records. But if he can play, like one of those two guys as an example, that may be or may direct the outcome of how well this team plays this season. Do you think Brantley's coming? Last season I felt like Brantley had all the pressure on him. He was replacing the legend in Tim Tebow. I felt like Gator fans were unfair to him, expecting him to come in and be his version of Tim Tebow, not necessarily the way he was going to play, but, he had to come in and be this guy. And I think, that kind of pressure, do you think he has more pressure this season than he had last season coming in?
Definitely not. I think his pressure level is still through the roof and isn't anything I'd like to handle anytime soon, but I don't think it even compares to last year. I mean, last year he was coming off of 2 13-1 seasons as a backup to one of the 10 best college football quarterbacks ever. He was also coming into his first season as a starter in a program that also produced one of the other probably 10 top best quarterbacks ever in Danny Werfel, a team that his father played for. Now it's basically everyone doesn't know what to expect. They expect him to get better because they expect the offense to fit his game more, but I don't think the pressure is as high or the expectations are as high because no one's expecting a 13-1 season either. So I don't think anyone expected a national championship last year, but they definitely didn't expect 7-5. I think most people thought, okay, well, this is a team that can still go back to the SEC championship game, still win 10 games during the regular season. Well, no one knows for sure this year. If he can get a 2-game improvement and the Gators finish the regular season 9-3, I think most people are going to be maybe not happy, but reasonably pleased with the progress the season made. So he still has a lot of pressure. You're always going to as the Gators quarterback, but I don't think it even compares to the amount of pressure he had heading into last season.
I tell you what, Joel, if they go 9, they get 9 games this season, I'm going to be ecstatic about it. I'm going to really be excited about the 2012 season. Now, backup position, something we haven't talked about. So much discussion about Brantley, but if Brantley goes down to an injury, what do you have? Who's going to be the first guy off the bench? Tyler Murphy or Jeff Driskel?
Well, Tyler Murphy has been pretty adamant that he is a quarterback, and they've kept him at quarterback. So, that's the position it looks like he's going to play. It's so tough because if you're a coach, there are 2 schools of thought here. There are let Driskel and Brisset sit and watch for a year. Let them just play it out, and then next year let these guys battle for the starting position, but let them learn and sit for a year. It's worked in a lot of cases. I believe Vince Young redshirted his first year at Texas. I think there are quite a few others that did that too, that just watched for a year. Now, someone like Tim Tebow didn't do it, but maybe that's what you want. But then there's the flip of the coin that you say, you know what? Anyone has the chance to be the backup, Driskel, Murphy, or Brisset. So what do you go with? It really depends on how this season's going. Let's say something happens to Brantley and he goes down and the Gators are 6-0. Well, then you definitely go with whoever at that point has proven he can give you the best shot to keep winning. But if he's being pulled because the Gators are 4-4 and he's been ineffective, well, then what do? Do you go with the guy who already redshirted, even if he's not necessarily the best choice, or do you go with the guy who still gives you the best chance to win? It's such a hard question to answer. I'm hoping realistically Murphy is the one that gives you the best chance to win because then you can let Driskel and Brisset sit and you have nothing to worry about. You can figure out next season. But it's such a tough question to answer. I think you've got to go in with Brantley as the starter. You've got to think the guy right now who's been in a program and been in college for a little longer has to be the backup. But when it all comes down to it, it's going to be whoever gives the team the best chance to win consistently. And if that's not John Brantley after a couple of weeks, they could go with anyone. We may be surprised.
All right, based on what you know now, looking at the spring game, who would you say would be the first guy off the bench right now? Gives them the best chance to win.
I think it's got to be Tyler Murphy.
Yeah, watching the Orange and Blue debut, he showed some signs, but they couldn't hit the quarterback, so I think he held onto the ball a little long. So I'm not sure how realistic that was, but at least he seemed to have an idea of what they were trying to accomplish on the offense. And I'm with you. I would rather see them just sit Driskel and Brisset, let them have that battle. You figure Brissett's probably going to end up getting redshirted this season anyway. Let Driskel sit. Yeah, he'll be a third. And there's sort of a strategy there as well, Joel. By having Driskel come in and not redshirt and have Brisset redshirt, you kind of build that space where you can maybe squeeze out a season or 2 seasons where you can use both of these guys instead of, having one having to watch the other and never getting a chance to use them both. So I'm with you. I think Driskel. I think we'll be hard pressed to see Driskel hit the field. I just think Brissett's going to be redshirted and that's going to be decided pretty early. All right, Joel, I want to thanks for that rundown from every facet of the offense. That was awesome. Remember, Swamp Talk Gator fans, you can find Joel at thebullgator.com. You can also catch him at Alligator Army, where he's covering recruiting, doing a great job, getting some real breaking news, lots of great info about Gator recruiting. As 2012 starts to gear up, that's going to be the recruiting class that's going to make or break Muschamp early on in his contract. So we're excited to see that. Well, it's time for Balls and Strikes. If you're new to the show,